Who doesn't love nachos? Nachos are a fun, easy meal that can feed a group pretty easily. What's even better, they're pretty hard to screw up. The barrier to entry for first-time nacho maker is not high. No matter what you like or dislike, there's a way to make nachos that's going to be perfect for you, and customization of this dish is its main strength. Fresh or canned ingredients, no cheese, or a big pile of nachos that are just drenched in it. Spicy or covered in weak sauce, go heavy on the meat, or completely vegetarian. There's not a single person on the planet who can say that they don't like nachos. One might ask themselves, though, that's great, but don't I need an oven to set up this awesome dish? And if I'm not in an RV in the wilderness, how do I make that happen? Let's dig in. The first thing we're going to have to do here is dig in a little bit on the nacho lore, the mythology behind the dish. So, believe it or not, nachos were actually created by accident during World War II. Soldiers and their wives would trek down from Eagle Pass in Texas to a Piedras Negras in Mexico and a place called the Victory Club. There was a man there who one night had the task of feeding all the hungry guests, and he had closing time rapidly approaching, so he needed something very fast. He found some tortilla strips, fried them up, added some toppings, and served it. When the guests asked what this incredibly delicious dish was, he quickly made up a name based on his own moniker. Everybody called him Nacho, short for Ignacio, so the dish became Nachos Especiales. Today we just call them nachos, though. After Ignacio Anaya's death in 1975, October 21st was designated International Day of the Nacho. So what are you going to need to make Ignacio's incredible gift to the world while on a camping trip? First up, a Dutch oven. Dutch ovens are preferable, and you're going to have to see the Trails video on Dutch ovens in order to get a better understanding of why Dutch ovens, these incredibly versatile pieces of camping equipment, are pretty awesome. If you don't have the ability to use a Dutch oven, maybe you're in the back wilderness, you can use a single pot, but you'll need one that's just a bit larger than normal sizes. Stanley makes a camp set that features a good sized pot, but there are quite a few different options on the market. One other thing, you're going to need to have a lid or at a minimum some aluminum foil to cover the pot. So let's get into the ingredients. You're going to need a half pound of tortilla chips, and tortilla chips themselves, so just want to remark, do have a pretty cool history, but we'll let you take a look into that. A half pound of shredded chicken or whatever kind of meat that you want. 1 cup, which is, I think, a minimum, of shredded cheese. And this could be a lot of different types of cheese like mozzarella or Monterey Jack, but the old standard is cheddar. A small lime cut into wedges, that way you can spritz on the nachos once they're done cooking, give them a little bit of flavor. And you have about 1 can of black beans, which are going to have to be drained. And we don't recommend that you actually take the can. You can field pack that into a different kind of container or even a bag. But we'll publish a video here soon about field stripping foods. Next up, 4 to 5 green onions. They're going to have to be sliced. A can of tomato sauce. An avocado that you'll cube. You're going to have to get some hot or mild sauce depending on your tastes. Some other ingredients that you might want to add are sour cream, red peppers, pinto beans, salsa, jalapenos, or those other kind of meats like we mentioned. But really, one of those strengths that we mentioned about this dish is that it's customizable and you can put next to anything on it. Do you have all your ingredients together? Good. Let's get cooking. So heat's pretty important here, and you're going to want to set the pan onto a stove or a fire. That way it can start warming up. But while it's warming up, you can go ahead and oil it up, and you want to get oil on most of the surface, if not all of it. The oil does a few things. It prevents food from sticking, which is important, and it can impart a little bit of flavor to your food, which is nice. And as the pan heats up to an appropriate temperature, the oil's going to wisp a little bit. Little bits of smoke will come up, and that's important to keep a lookout for. When you see those, you're about ready to go. So the first ingredient that needs to be prepared is the chicken, or, if you decide a different meat, then a different meat, but in this case, chicken. We'll put that chicken in the pan. In a backcountry setting, a pan-seared chicken seasoned with a little bit of salt and pepper and a knob of butter will give you that golden crisp exterior with a juicy interior. That's going to be really nice. That chicken's going to need to get up to about 165 degrees, so do what you can to make sure that it's properly cooked. If you have the ability to, pat the chicken dry with a little bit of paper towel first, and then put them in that pan with the leading edge towards you and that furthest edge part away from you hitting last. That makes it so that you're not going to get splashed with oil, because that's not fun. You're going to cook those chicken bits for between 2 to 4 minutes to sear the chicken side, and then flip it away from yourself again so that you don't get splashed. You want to check that that chicken's done? Cut it open right in the middle, and it should be white in color all the way through, and those juices that run away from it should be 100% clear. If anything at all is pink, you need to keep on cooking. That's incredibly important because you don't want to get sick. When you feel good about things, pull that chicken out and set it to the side in a sterile area for later. At this point, it's your assessment. If you need to clean the pot a bit, go ahead and do that, and then re-oil it. Keep in mind it's going to be warm. But here's where we get to the best part, and the secret to incredible campfire nachos: layering. You're going to lay down about 1/3 of those nachos and then put some toppings into it. You're going to shred some chicken up and use about 1/4 of the tomato sauce, 1/4 of the black beans, 1/4 of the cheese, some of the avocado, a healthy sprinkle of green onions, and cilantro. A good thing to remember is that the water from your ingredients, the beans, tomatoes, or whatever, will create some steam that melts the cheese and softens the chips just a little bit. If you need to, add a bit of water, but not too much. Nobody likes soggy chips. Are you good to go with that first layer? Good. Do a second layer. And then you're going to want to finish up this chip house with a nice solid third layer that includes all of your remaining ingredients on top. Then put that top on, or use that aluminum foil, and let it cook maybe 5 to 10 minutes depending on how hot your pan is, and then you're going to need to let it cool down. You don't even have to worry about making a plate with nachos. Everybody can eat using their fingers, but we do advocate that everybody washes properly with soap and water, and then after you're done, clean your hands up. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you can make some campfire nachos in the near future. If you do, we'd love it if you'd tell us how your nachos worked out in the comments section. If you liked what you saw and learned something, like and subscribe our YouTube account, and follow us on Twitter at WTRLS1.